In most cases, you can. There's is if we're talking about before any conviction, when you've only been charged with the case or your case is going on in court and with DMV, um, if we've requested a hearing within 10 days, which we do on all our cases when our client hires us within 10 days of their arrest, they're allowed to keep driving without any restrictions, no need for permits or anything like that. However, if you didn't request the hearing or contact an attorney or contact us as attorneys to request the DMV hearing and keep you driving, then the question is, can you, before any conviction, get a work permit or a work restricted license or an ignition interlock license? The answer to that is in most cases, yes. What you would need to do is be enrolled in a DUI school, have SR22 high risk insurance, and pay a reissue fee to DMV. If you want to get an ignition interlock permit or restricted license, which allows you to drive anywhere, there's some issues with doing that early because you may not get credit for it. You won't if you get convicted later and have to have the same. But if you want to do that, then you just need to have that installed, have the paperwork for that, bring everything I just talked about into DMV, and you can get your restricted license, not work permit, but it's a permit basically that allows you to drive anywhere, everywhere, as long as you have that ignition interlock device on your car. If you want just a work permit or work restricted license, then you obviously don't have to have the ignition interlock installed at this point, but you will need to wait a month from when your suspension started before you can go get that. And then you're going to have that on your car for many months after that. And depends on how the case comes out, will probably be determinative of how long you need to have that. Now, let's talk about if you've been convicted of a DUI, if you've lost your DMV hearing. At that point, that's when most people will need to get their work restricted license, their work permit, their ignition interlock restricted license. At that point, unless your case was a refusal case, which you lost at DMV, you should be able to get one of those permits, one of those restricted licenses. And the same things that I talked about earlier that you need again after a conviction, after a loss of a DMV hearing. What we try and do is keep the two different cases, the administrative per se DMV hearing and the superior court criminal action together as best we can, so that if there is a suspension at some point, that it all can run together and you don't have them going back to back, which can sometimes happen if things are not handled correctly, if you don't get an attorney on time, or request the hearing on time, I should say. But the bottom line is, in most cases, yes, you can get a work restricted or some type of a restricted license after a DUI case, even on if it's a multiple offense. The problems come up these days with, again, the refusal cases, when you've been found to have refused a test, a chemical test, after being properly admonished in the DMV admin per se case.